Sorry, we're late. We're coming at you from the Otter's den, doghouse, whatever you want to call it. But the fact of the matter is, we're not at the studio. It doesn't mean that we won't be there again. It just means that today we're not at the studio. I won't go into detail. I don't know any details, but I do remember being in the parking lot of the studio, receiving a call from Joe and hearing a couple words. What I got was gas station food. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you translate that into what you want. So I just skedaddled back to the house. And here I am now, coming out live at you. And we, Lord willing, will have a conversation. We will have a good conversation. We'll talk about some good stuff tonight. Okay? I got the chat on, so I should see everything from, and actually I'll put it on the stream too. So we'll have that going for us. So what do you all want to talk about? Because I know I do want to talk about Iran, and not about the Iran to wherever, about that other country that we're supposed to be at war with. Okay? That's something I would like to talk about, but we don't have to talk about that. I suppose that we can get into the economic barometer as we are wont to do. And what I can also do is, figure out exactly what it is that's going on in this world. But that would be a tall order. I'm going to first go with the verse of the day. I think you guys will like it. This is Psalm 46, verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth, says God. Because if it was for me, it would mean nothing. Now, where I'm going with this is God only knows. God is the only one that knows what's going to happen, from whence it is going to happen, and how it's going to affect us. I'm not sure really how it's all going to work out. We could pretend to know. We could, have all this, what have you, hearsay, which is all really the news is. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. The news is hearsay, right? The news is nothing more than people speaking into a microphone the things that they were told to tell you and me. So I don't watch it anymore. And I don't know if it's been, maybe a decade. I might have seen one or two, and that's just because I was in a restaurant or in somebody else's home and they were watching it. But I don't miss it. No, not one bit. Not only do I not miss it, I personally don't care, because I don't want to listen to what they're saying. I don't want to know what they're saying because they're always lying. But that's just me. So what I'd like to do with today's broadcast, is throw it out there as to, what exactly do we want to see? What exactly is it that is being told to us? And what do we think about it? Because I don't know about you. I just know that this war, this info war, this thing that we're doing is not working. Not for the bad guys, but also not for a lot of normies. What they're telling us is that they're believing the news. And if we know anything, if we've learned anything, and I'll just go back to 2020, all I can say is that they are the last people I will ever believe again. Safe and effective, they told us. 6 feet, they told us. Get your booster, they told us. Sorry, Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's will be open, but Joe's Mechanic Shop and Al's Bakery are going to have to close. Ladies and gentlemen, when they say scamdemic, that's the truth. That is the truth. They hate us, okay? why would we ever listen to them again? And by extension, why would we listen to their other mouthpieces? Right? Professors, right? Lawyers, right? Politicians. Am I correct, doctors? Pharmacists? Oh, I'm correct. Whether or not they want to believe us or not, whether or not we believe them doesn't matter. I am correct. I will stand on this all day long. Are there exceptions to the rule? Of course. Of course. There are always some good people out there. God has guaranteed us that. Now, yeah, sure. They're going to want to kill those good people. They're going to want those good people to go away. And they're going to want to hurt those good people. But the fact of the matter is, as I do this, I am convicted of the fact, okay, of the very fact that what is going on is better than it was in 2020. So much better. Now, you may not believe what I'm about to tell you, but I truly believe it. I wholeheartedly believe it. And this is what I am saying. I'm saying that they, meaning the usual suspects, they don't want any of us alive. Yeah, maybe they'll keep a few of us laying around so that we can serve them. That might be something. That might be a perhaps plan of theirs. But the fact of the matter is, they are probably not caring about us in one little bit. I'm trying right now. I know you see me as a bit distracted, but I'm going to try and put us onto the Facebook feed so I see it. Why am I doing this? Because I would really like to see who's watching right now, and so I'm going to have to mute it. But I don't see anybody on. There we go, Sue and Roki. Awesome. Glad to see you guys are tuning in, at least on the Christopher Ott page. I don't see my, like I said, we were Russian. We weren't Russians, although I have nothing against Russians. But we were not, I was Russian, okay? And Joe was also Russian. I'll reiterate for those who weren't here at the very first. Joe called me, and the connection was bad, but I did hear the words gas station food and you know, I'm not a linguist, but I got the gist of the story. I'm not a genius, but I think I figured it out. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to run the whole board myself. So I came back to the house, came back to the Otter's den, as it were. So all that to say, this is what's going on. This is what's happening according to what they say. And let me give you an appraisal. We have probably, and I'm going to estimate because I don't have all this stuff in front of me right now. Again, we were rushing, Joe and I, but for different reasons. Now, what I'm going to say is, I'll repeat, an estimate. So I think we've probably cleared the Strait of Hormuz of mines 3 or 4 times. I think we've blown up all of the radar and anti-aircraft installations probably at least 3 or 4 times. There has been an end to the war probably 6 or 8 times. And the latest one that I can think of is Donald Trump. I think it was Truth Social that he posted a scene from a movie. And this movie, it was a TV show, The West Wing. And it had Martin Sheen as the president and a bunch of generals around the table advising him, basically forcefully telling him what they were going to do. And he kind of clapped back a little bit. And they didn't really give him any bother because, well, he's just the president. And in the end, he finally got exasperated and said, I know what we have in front of us because we're going to retaliate proportionally, like we always do. We're going to retaliate proportionally. So in front of me are 3 targets, and I think he named off like an intel agency in Syria, some sort of nuclear dump, and a weapons installation or something like that. And they said, "Yes, Mr. President, those are 3 very valid targets." And he says something to the effect of, "Well, why would we, or I'm sorry, what is virtuous about responding proportionally?" And they were a little bit, taken aback. "Well, what do you mean responding proportionally? This is what we always do." "Exactly," he said. "This is what we always do. What we're going to do forward is," and he slams his hand down and says, "for every American someone kills, we're going to rain destruction upon them." So we'll see what happens. But I would like to tell you this. Personally, this is me. I won't try to speak for anybody else, especially you guys. I believe this is a fake war. I certainly hope it is, and I hope nobody's dying, especially our troops. And then women and children and men in Iran, because they're not the enemy. Whoever runs Iran is the enemy. Whoever ran the Strait of Hormuz, because I sincerely believe that the U.S. military does now, whoever ran Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, they are the ones. They are our enemies. Now, do I believe that the United States has wrested, meaning WRESTED, power from the people that did rule Iran and did run the Strait of Hormuz? Yeah, I do. I think so. I sincerely do think so. However, I also believe that there are other deep state, Khazarian mafia, international criminal cabal, because whatever you want to call it. Those people are, how would you say, not unilaterally, but collaterally suffering. Why do I say that? Because they were making billions upon billions of dollars, jacking up the price of oil. If you haven't noticed, it's going down. Because another thing that was said, be it true or not, is that the U.S. ended up getting 22 tankers into and out of Iran filled with oil for you and for me. Believe it if you want, don't if you don't want to. But suffice it to say that it is not what we think it is or what they want us to think it is. Can we be on the inside? Can we be part of that? No, not really. But Donald Trump is giving us hints now and again. He really is, if we care to check it out. Now, I can't think of any that he's said lately, but he does like to refer to things as, events, as movies. I can't tell you how many times I've heard him, probably a dozen, use the term central casting. I like that guy. He's from central casting. And he could be, referring to somebody in his cabinet. Central casting. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, to some degree or another, of which I am not read in, we are watching a movie. We are watching a movie. Make no mistake about that. Now, are real events occurring, and we are getting the dramatized version on TV, which we don't watch. I'm sure people that are watching this are not watching TV. But what we do know is that we're going to win if we haven't already won, which I think we have. So where we're going with this is, how do we go on from this, and when will it end? My opinion, this is just me, right? My opinion is this stuff is going to be wrapped up, most of it, not all of it. We're not going to see the golden age before the midterms. But I think we're going to be successfully on our way to a resurgence of our economy. Our economy has taken a hit. The reason is not because of a war with Iran. How do I know this? Because we don't get oil from Iran. We don't get oil from the Strait of Hormuz. We just don't. It's just something that most people know. So why is it so expensive? One of two things. Either the usual suspects are price gouging us purposely to make it appear that Donald Trump is making, hey, Barry, good to see you, that Donald Trump is making our lives miserable. That's quite possible. The other possibility is, and some people don't like to think of these things, but I have to. And I like to share them because, well, I think there's a possibility of this happening, that even the good guys wanting to add effect to this movie are adding a little bit of pain to regular Americans. Why would they do that, you might ask? Ladies and gentlemen, if people don't think, and I'm talking about normies now, I'm talking about, gobsmacked TV news, The View, audience, all that. Oh, well, at least you were productive, Barry. I'm running a little bit late too. But Barry says he's working on a tractor. That's fine. Hey, man, I wish I had skills like that. And I think my sister Sue needs skills like that too. Her tractor went, I guess we could say this on Facebook, tits up. So, yeah, but she's in Florida. I don't think Barry would be any helps. Anyway, she might have a good hand. Anyway, so where I'm going with this whole thing of our gas prices going up and our economy taking a dip is that the movie has to seem real, much more so than in a Hollywood theater. Why do I mean that? Because lives are on the line. Seriously, careers are on the line. Our way of life is on the line. Now, I think that, if you've watched this show before, you realize that I believe it's well in hand. I believe that what we're experiencing is a military operation, what most of us who have served would call a counterinsurrection. That's what it is. We were overthrown or came this close to being overthrown. Okay. I think 2020, again, and I hate to break this to you guys, I truly think that the good guys could have stopped it, but for many reasons to include optics, they didn't. Imagine your average TDS sufferer when the voluminous evidence of voter fraud, election tampering would be trotted out early 2020 before the inauguration of the brain dead man that no one even thought was running the country. It would not have gone well. It wouldn't go well now if it was another election. Why? Because there are just too many people that are still asleep. They're, how would you say, zoned out, programmed, conditioned, all of the above. So it wouldn't go well, and we would have another civil war, and that would be horrible. So I think that the U.S. military, as they gamed it out, figured, hey, what's the path? Using, of course, ultra AI, a million times more than what we have access to. What would be the best course of action, the most efficient with the least amount of collateral damage? And I believe we're on that path right now. That's me. You don't have to believe that. But if you're interested, hit me up on Messenger, and you know what? I'll send you some reasons why I believe what I believe. I'm not afraid to articulate my case, nor am I afraid to argue the points of it or listen to your case, your statements. Why? Because I don't know everything. I know very little, but I know I don't watch TV. And when I say that, I mean it with as much disrespect for television as I can possibly muster. Now, besides Iran, is there anything you guys want to talk about? Because I can ramble on about this. There are some other things that I'm thinking about this Iran fiasco that are going on or that hopefully will go on. Because this is not the last stop. Okay? Remember, we have Cuba, right? And if you're listening, either past the show, and you're not listening live, but you're listening in your vehicle, I'm winking. Because Cuba's coming up. Now, I don't know the order of these things, but, China's going to do Taiwan. Remember, and there's a guy out there much smarter than me and much more articulate about this, and he calls it the Sovereign Alliance. Now, we knew from the Q drops that Russia, China, and America are working together to defeat a common enemy. Does that mean that we're going to align with Russia on everything? We're going to align with China on everything? No. It means you got your place, we have ours. We're going to clean up our yard, you clean up your yard. So Ukraine, well, that's Russia's thing. Taiwan, that's China's thing. And, well, unfortunately, we're very close to Cuba. And I don't say that because I don't like Cubans. I say that because I don't like communists. And Cuba has been ruled by communists for a long time. I think that's going to change pretty soon. And I don't think it's going to be very bloody either. I think it's going to be okay. Real Cubans hate communism. They really do. If you've ever heard one talk about it, then you would know. So there's where we're at with that. Now, going back to Iran, I think that there's more, and I think we went over weeks past the Lloyds of London thing, and they rescinded their policies of any ships going through the Strait of Hormuz. And then Donald Trump says, well, you know what? We just happen to have a company that's going to issue out policies for just that thing. Because, of course, the good guys, the white hats, they knew what was going on. The Patriots, the U.S. military, they knew what was going on. So they preempted any jackassery by the usual suspects, in this case, Lloyds of London. Ladies and gentlemen, if you really want to go down a rabbit hole, look up what London really is. Look up what Washington, D.C. really is. It's not good. It's not nice. And you don't belong. Neither do I. And I don't feel bad whatsoever, because then we'd probably have some, commonalities with Epstein, and we don't. They do. So the thing about Iran is, in my opinion, the thing about Iran is that was a proxy state. Some would believe the biggest and baddest tripwire that was in the world, because it was centrally located. It has the Strait of Hormuz, right? And they're always threatening that it has nukes. So it could be used at any point in time to start a war, one. Two, it could be used to choke off an entire continent, Europe, let's say, by simply closing the strait, blowing up some pipelines, right? Didn't we hear Joe Biden was, he was the one responsible for the, what was that pipeline that Russia had? Nord Stream, the Nord Stream 2. They said that, it was us, basically. And here's another thing I want to disabuse everyone of, including, and perhaps, most importantly, myself. We like to think of ourselves, as Americans, we like to think of ourselves as the good guys. But you know what? If you spend some time overseas, and I did 1 year only, but I did, the world is not laser focused on us. One. Two, our country's responsible for a lot of misery, a lot of pain, a lot of greatness, a lot of good, okay? Because our country was great. It was good, okay? There was a guy, his name was Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He defected from Russia. Brilliant man. He spent some time in the gulags. And he said, no, I'm sorry. Wrong quote. Francis de Tocqueville visited America, I don't know, 1800s, something like that. And early 1900s, maybe. Somebody might be able to help me with that. But he wrote a very voluminous, long, big book on America. But the only quote I remember is this. He said, America is good. No, I'm sorry. I'm messing this all up. I don't mean to. If you relate this to someone else, please don't do it the way I'm doing it now. Thank you. He said, Francis de Tocqueville said, he was Frenchman, a frog. He said, America is great because America is good. If America ceases to be good, America will cease to be great. And ladies and gentlemen, that happened longer ago than what we think. We can all differ on the date. We can all differ on the area. The era, the time frame. But my opinion is this, especially after the third iteration of a central bank, a privately owned central bank, was foisted upon the United States in 1913, things went south pretty quick. Yeah, they did. Ever since then, we have been subject to, I don't like to use this term because it's gotten such, chuckles out of people, but brainwashing, conditioning. Let me use that term. One trauma after another trauma. Pumps and dumps, huge rises. Hey, Eric, good to see you, brother. You were sleeping. Hey, got to get some rest, brother. You're a working man. So what I'm going on about is when I think the United States fell from being great, therefore fell from being good. Because there's a lot of nations out there that don't really love us because the people that ran our country really ran the other countries into bankruptcy and worse, trafficking and nastiness. So I believe the first part happened when the Federal Reserve in 1913, the third bank, private central bank, was instituted in the United States. And remember, there were a bunch of things prior to that. The Titanic, that was tied into that. The killing, the assassination in our hometown, Eric, of William McKinley. William McKinley ran the United States government on tariffs, ladies and gentlemen. That's the significance of William McKinley. He was a symbol of how to efficiently run a government from the outside and not the inside. So when the Internal Revenue Service, and the name says it all, was invented as a Gestapo wing, if you will, of the Federal Reserve, it meant what it said, internal revenue, meaning we're going to steal from the people inside of the United States, and we're going to call it income tax. It is 100%, ladies and gentlemen, theft. When you kill a man like William McKinley, who was running the entire federal government, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, on tariffs, we learn pretty quick that it can be done. Then you bring in the central bank, and they tell us, well, we need to take money from you. Do they really need it? Well, they went off the gold standard in 70 or 71, correct me if I'm wrong. Ever since then, they've been printing as much as they want. They've been printing mystery money, trash money, garbage money. And, what is it that we're to do about it? Nothing. Nothing. Until in 2016, the U.S. military brought Donald Trump down the escalator to kick off the public version of a counterinsurgency and bring us back from the precipice of communism. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think would happen? Even if you really don't have all your synapses burning and you watch TV, let's just say you watch Nightline or you watch The View, Jimmy Kimmel. Let's say you watch some sort of, ensemble show, whatever you want to call it. Even Fox News, ladies and gents. You have to know that if Hillary Clinton would have won, we'd be in a much darker place right now. She has already said that she was going to go to war with Russia. Why? Ask yourself, why was her and her owners, why were they going to go to war with Russia? Well, it's pretty simple. Russia is the home of the OG patriot, Vladimir Putin. Now they've given us the impression that, oh, communism is still alive over there. Oh, no, 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 no. You're not going to see naked, men dressed as women going down the streets of Moscow. Or if they try to, you're going to see it cleaned up pretty quick. The Orthodox Church is very much protected in Russia. And there's many other things we can, state about that. But the biggest thing is this. Vlad Putin has made it so that, well, let's say this. Vlad Putin has made it so that it's very difficult for the Western banks to work in Russia because he kicked out their oligarchs, if you want to call it. Yeah, there are Russian oligarchs, of course. But the usual suspects, the international banking cartel, is largely on the outside there, and they hate him for it. They hate Russia for that. So just like Gaddafi, who printed a sovereign note, gold-backed, I believe, for Libya, he wasn't long for this earth. So they wanted to make Vlad Putin not long for this earth, just like they almost made Reagan. They didn't need to do it with Bush because Bush was one of them. Yeah. They didn't need to do it with Obama because Obama, he's not even an American. He's a product. He's a creature of some intel agency somewhere or another, or I don't know, somebody in the UAE or Saudi Arabia, whatever it was, prior to the good guys cleaning all that mess up. So where I'm going with this is we are coming back to being good. In the words of Francis de Tocqueville many years ago. And that means that in some point future, hopefully very soon, we will be great. And a great America means a good America, if I'm following this right. And a good America means that we're going to do good for other people. If that means staying out of your country and not bombing it, not stealing your children and trafficking them, then that's what it means. And when we find people that are within our country that want to do that, you listening, Hollywood? Are you listening, Washington, D.C.? Well, then we eliminate them. Use your imagination. Give you a hint. They're bringing back the firing squad, which is great. It's peachy, And a lot of people object to that. Oh, capital punishment. You know what? If I do something like these Hollywood freaks are doing to little kids, I deserve to be put in front of the shooting gallery and riddled with holes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, would I do something like that? Of course not. Of course not. But we must know there is a price to pay when you hurt people, especially the youngest and most innocent of us. And that's what was going on. It's still going on, I know, but they're cleaning it up. I think I heard last week there were like 7,000 more kids found from the Biden days of, running wild with Catholic charities, sacking up all the kids and the unaccompanied kids and the family units and all that. That was, and I'm telling you, I know there's real Catholics out there. There's true Christian Catholics out there. I know that. But like many other things, the layer at the top, instead of being cream, well, let's just say that the top is riddled with turds. Sorry to get so graphic, but that's Washington, D.C. That's Washington, D.C. right there. One thing is, I'm just happy that they're not in control anymore. So we have Sue trying to leverage Barry for a little bit of, I thought you were going to ask him a question on that hydraulic issue you have. And then it's Barry's wife. Hello, Barry's wife. Now he's at the barn. Just heard the Can-Am. He's back. All right. See, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever wonder if a person is genuine, it goes a long way if they work in their yard. And I know some of us, I work 9-10 hour days, right? I don't ask my wife and she'll tell you. I don't get to the yard a lot. I've got a 16-year-old son, so that works out when he's feeling frisky. But genuine people have an appreciation for what they received. They've earned it, and they work on it. Genuine people, right? The songers, genuine people. And Eric Schrader, I know you're. I'm pretty sure you, sir, are an independent businessman. You are a self-owned businessman, I believe, if the Facebook profile that I read was right. Sue, you're working on it. I know, and you're doing a lot of other things too. Heck yeah. So anybody else who's watching and you're a wage slave like me, or you're an independent business person that's working their butt off, I salute you. I salute you because you're doing the American way. You're not standing by. You're not waiting for somebody else to do it. You're doing it. Okay? We need more of this. We need more of regular people and less pundits, talking heads, politicians, and lawyers. Okay? They are the bane of our society. And hopefully we're going to be clearing that up pretty soon. I really do hope that. I hope and pray that that is the case. Now, we've done Iran, right? And we're not done. If you guys have something else, we're not done here. Retired disabled combat vet. Wow, Eric, thank you for your service. Maybe one of these days we could talk, man. Haven't seen you in many years, many moons, but I've talked to a lot of combat vets, and I'll tell you, I appreciate your service, Eric. And you may or may not agree with me, but I don't think you guys should have been sent there. I don't think it was. They had back when I was kicking around in the military. They had no, actually, I think it was before me. They called it Just Cause. I think it was in Panama. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't believe, and to include World War II, I don't believe any of them were a just cause. My opinion. My opinion. That's me. I know what they said. I know their stated reasons for sending you out there, Eric, wherever you went. But I lost any faith in them long ago. And the last straw was 2020, the pandemic, and how they treated those of us that actually believed that we had sovereign control over our bodies. Hey, Marcos, good to see you, brother. Glad you could make it. We're talking about wars and how I don't think that we had any good ones. Okay, the Revolutionary one, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. When our founding fathers said no foreign entanglements, you know what I think they meant? I think they meant no foreign entanglements. Yeah. And I think anything that drives us to foreign entanglements is globalism. Yeah, collectivism. Communism, if you will. Eric says, I agree. I met some really great Iraqi people. Iraq was a nice, beautiful place. Yes. Yes. Dare I say that it was a place of high technology in its day? I mean, we've been lied to in many different ways, but yes, Eric, I agree with you. There are so many Iraqi people that are not around anymore that didn't deserve a drone strike from 30,000 feet. They didn't deserve that, but at the same time, you guys didn't deserve being sent to do whatever it is they told you to do. I believe certainly that we've been lied to about all the wars that we can think of. Seriously. I don't know any war to include, and now especially as I research it, World War II. World War II is the biggest, most farcical, agenda-driven narrative that I've encountered, possibly with the exception of the pandemic, COVID. that might take the cake. COVID might take the cake, but I'm telling you, World War II set the tone for a century. And the wars, destruction, not to mention World War I. And we don't get a lot of that. But Barry says, have you heard of Section 224 of the NDAA merging U.S. and Israel militaries a month or two after pushing selective service and raising draft age to 42? Yes, I have. I have, Barry. I'm not going to say that I know what it's all about. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to pretend that I know exactly what it means. But what I think it means is this. It's part of the agenda of scare tactics. If the Patriots are who I believe they are, and you don't have to agree with me. I'm just, I'm responding to your question of have I heard of it? Yes, I have. And what I believe it means is that we are being pushed closer and closer to what has been called the precipice. Okay, the Q drops have articulated this fairly well. And what they mean by the precipice is, and let me give you another mantra, Q mantra from behind that. And it's not a cult. I know a mantra is probably a bad word, but they've said it multiple times. You can't tell people the truth. And I know we've all been around a while. None of us is a spring chicken on this chat group. We all know that, we're being told things all the time. Okay, we're being told this, and we know it's not true. So the precipice means this, and I do believe this is true. It means that a person can't be told what's true because they're not going to accept it. But if they feel it, like they're feeling high gas prices right now, if they feel the pressure, okay, if a TV war tells them that we are this close to a nuclear conflict, there's going to be a paradigm shift. The masses might awaken. There's no guarantee. I mean, there's always the view they can turn on and be consoled. But let's say there's a cyber attack. TV's out. We already know that the good guys have that emergency channel ready. They've tested it. It works. But let's just say people get really scared. I think this is part of that, Barry. I think that this NDAA thing is a criminal piece of legislation. If you remember, it came fairly close off the heels of 9/11 when, oh man, did they ever take sweeping, centralizing power. It started before 9/11, of course, when Rummy, that despotic, evil, sinister Donald Rumsfeld, told us that just prior to, I think he told it to us on 9/10 of 2001. Yeah, we lost $2 trillion. We don't really know where it is, but we lost $2 trillion. It's understandable if you don't remember that because 9/11 2001 was what it was. And who's going to remember what 9/10 was all about? But I think it's part of their Luciferian religion. These people have a religion, and it's not of our God. They have a God with a little g. And part of their karmic dogma is that they need to tell us what to do, and then they are free from any backlash in the realm of karma. Sue says, I think some branches enlistment age was raised from 35 to 42, but the military draft age is still at 26. Okay. So they'll accept someone up to 42, I'm getting, Sue. They'll accept somebody into the service at 42. But if they're going to draft somebody, it goes to 26, I guess, if I'm understanding that correctly. So if that's the case, and I think another thing about that, Barry, was they've no longer made it a requirement to register with selective service. Why? Come on, guys. They already know everybody. They know all of our dirt. They know all of our business. You pick your nose, they're watching. I won't go into any more bodily functions. I could, but I won't. They know what you're doing at all times. I have these things on my phone. You probably can't see it. Let me see if you can see it. But yeah, you might, depending on your resolution. I've got a black round sticker on my front camera on my phone. You can buy them on Amazon. They come on a sticker sheet in different sizes, that, about 100 of them, whatever, depending on the brand you get. And you just put them on your camera. So when you're looking at your phone or you're doing whatever, they're not looking at you. I know it's just a small way to fight back, but I just hate them. I really do. Them, meaning the usual suspects, the rogue operators, if you will. It's always a rogue operator, right? In the movies, or a rogue unit. The Bourne series, anyone? Don't take your phone to the bathroom. No, exactly. I agree, Sue. I agree. Where I would like to go from here, and I won't keep you guys too long. Or I'm sorry. I apologize again for being late. If you haven't heard the first 2 times I told you, and Joe's probably not going to appreciate me repeating this, but I got a call from Joe while I'm in the parking lot of the studio, ready to go in, and I didn't hear a lot because the signal wasn't that great. What I heard was gas station food. In that order. So, yeah, you decide, you decipher, you figure it out from there. I said, hey, Joe, I'm sorry that you're going through whatever you're going through, but I'll go off site for the Bitcoin Otter show today. So here we are. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you're watching or listening after the fact, thank you all also. I'm not saying that everybody watches from start to finish, but any thumbs up would really be appreciated. And also, thank you very much. We get usually somewhere, depending on the show, especially if we have a guest, we'll get up to 500, I think, views. Good news, in case you guys didn't know, Sue, you're out of state. Maybe I told you guys already, but Gary Groves won. Yes. He won the primary, so he'll run off against some person here in Texas to represent. Remember, Mr. Groves, Gary Groves, was on the show a while back. Our coffee's back to $30, says Sue. No bueno. I've got it on order. And what she's talking about is, the brand is Cameron's. It's the best I've ever had. Cameron's Scandinavian blend. Now, of course, there's no coffee in Scandinavia, but I think they compile it there. I have no idea. Anyway, it's very good, very good. But yeah, it is going up to 30, I think. But here's the thing. It was, I think, Folgers, Colombian version of Folgers, 16 something for the pound and a quarter, pound and a third. $16 and some odd cents for ground Folgers Colombian coffee, and all the others, breakfast blend, all those, they were all just as expensive. Now, when you order this Cameron's Scandinavian blend, it comes in a 4-pound bag for $30. We're still winning, Sue. We're still winning. Okay. So here's where I'm going. As we sign off, I want to let you all know that I very much appreciate you listening. And for guys like you, Eric, I appreciate your service. I know others have served. Barry, if I'm not mistaken, I think you served in the Navy or something. Don't remember. I have, my best friend Louis Ramirez tells me that me having been in the Air Force, he acknowledges that the Air Force is a wonderful alternative to military life. And that's what he tells me as an Army guy who used to lug around bases, all that good stuff, all that crazy base, meaning the base of a mortar around. We don't do that in the Air Force. We have contractors, etc. Barry says $30 for 4 pounds. Yes. Hang on one second. I'll be right back. Let me show you. Sorry for the interruption, all you non-coffee drinkers, but I take my coffee seriously, and Barry, I think you do too. This is what it comes as, a 4-pound bag for $30. This is whole bean. So I have my own grinder, just fresher and tastier that way. So I don't make a cent from these people, guys. I just want you to know, I don't make a cent from them. They would probably never allow me to be the face of their brand, but I love you guys. So I want you guys to know that this now, according to Sue, hey, thanks, Paul. Thanks for stopping by. I didn't see you pop up there, but thank you very much, Paul. This is a good deal. A good deal for $30. And like I said, it was $32 for basically 2.5 pounds at the supermarket. And HEB is as cheap as they come, as far as I know. So yeah, 4 pounds for $30. Yeah. Ladies and gents, I want to let you know, as we sign off for this week, I want to let you know I appreciate all of you. I know you all personally. I guess that's something that is my honor, because there's a lot of podcasters out there that podcast to people they don't even know, and well, they're famous and I'm not. I don't envy them. I'm just glad that I hope that we can share a little bit of time, share ideas, come to some common ground. And if we can help each other out at the same time, man, that's a bonus. That's a bonus. And as I have already said, I know you all. Navy. All right, Barry. I know you all, and I appreciate you all. You come from different, backgrounds and so forth. And some of you, like Sue, Paul, and Eric, you guys come from my hometown. I call it my hometown, but all you other guys from Texas, Marcos, Barry, I think you were from Texas. Can't remember. I was born in Texas. I was born on Fort Hood, Darnell Army Hospital. So I am truly a Texan, though people sometimes doubt that. You guys, and that phrase right there tells you I did grow up indeed in New York, in Buffalo. So you guys, meaning women too, because that's just how we say it, use guys, have a great week, please. If any of the things that we discussed interest you in any way, or you have anything interesting to share with me, hit me up. I'm all ears. I love to look into rabbit holes. One of them I was looking into last week was, I was revisiting it, the Admiral Byrd expedition to the South Pole. A lot of people want to debunk it, but I'll tell you what, it's a good rabbit hole. Very interesting. Anyway, if you guys want to talk about something, you want me to dig into something, I love to dig into these things, I'll make it a topic. But for right now, we're getting slapped in the face with new Iran news every single day. So there's where we're at. And just for the record, I will state it again. I think we're watching a movie. I hope and pray we're watching a movie. But I'll tell you what, there are many, many signs that indicate we are indeed watching a movie. If you do want to see an example of what I'm telling you, there's an older movie with Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro. There's a bunch of them, the stars, as it were, called Wag the Dog, where they put on just such a war movie to get the populace ginned up to send our boys to another foreign land and fight ugly wars. But not this administration. No. Not this administration. Oh, they have full-fledged productions going on. Everybody knows about the masks and so forth. Yes, Mrs. Songer. Admiral Byrd. I think he spells it with a Y. I'm not positive, but check it out. You will be amazed. They probably have websites dedicated to just that. A little synopsis. He takes his flotilla of armada of Navy ships and so forth, and goes to search. I don't know if they're on a Nazi hunt. It was after World War II. And he's also a pilot. He flew above the South Pole and supposedly found that, wow, there was greenery. There was vegetation. And in the middle of this circle of greenery, vegetation, and lack of ice was a circle, a hole. Hopefully that'll whet your appetite for more information. So one of the things I want to tell you as the last thing, and I know I've said it'd be the last thing, I really appreciate you coming to your computer, to your phone, whatever, and checking us out. And I really enjoy what we're doing here. This is just me doing what I can because there's so much that I can't. I can't control anything. I can, control myself to an extent. And sometimes that's even sketchy. But reaching out and receiving, the fellowship that we have, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Father, for this gathering of patriots. We have common sentiments, patriotism, and goals. We know that you have blessed America greatly. And we would like to, we hope to, and we pray to come back, to be great again. Why? Because we want to be good again. And to be good, we need you, Lord Jesus. We need you. And we thank you for doing your part. Please help us do ours. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Amen and amen. God bless you. God bless your families. May you be well and blessed forevermore, both in this kingdom and the one to come. Have a great week. I'll see you.